Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, October 17th, 2022, here for my weekly cross-stitching update. And I have a little bit more than just cross-stitching. I have a tiny bit of quilting and some plans for next year. And first off, though, we're going to talk about giveaway winners because 2 videos ago, I had 12 giveaways to celebrate 12,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So thank you to everybody for following me on my stitching journey. And thank you to everyone who bought a pattern out of my shop this past with the coupon code. That's really great. Hopefully you enjoy those designs. Oh, hi Smokey. Guess she was sleeping under the bed. My talking woke her up. Well, I have giveaways. We had 12 giveaways. The first one was keyword whirlwind for these 2 quilting patterns. And there were 48 comments on the video from 2 weeks ago. Pardon me, because Smokey is nuzzling the tripod again. Colleen York, congratulations. She had a bunch of different ones. Congrats on 12K and lots of keywords. So Colleen, you win the whirlwind. I'm gonna write people's names down as they go, just to make it a little easier. Okay. Yep, we gotta do another one, Smokey. Are you gonna come up? Yeah. So the next one is for the flower quilt patterns. So I'll do the word flower. Seems a little slow. There were 50 comments with the word flower. So let's see who gets that one. Jane Barrel. I think, have you won something before? 12,000, amazing, but not at all surprised. And she had cute little emojis for some of her keywords. So congratulations, you get those quilt patterns. All right. And then we had 2 more quilt patterns. This one was the word green, because these were green focused designs, at least on the cover. Hey! 44 comments with that keyword. Third shift stitcher. Another congratulations. The Mirabilia would look beautiful on a dark green fabric. So hopefully you wanted the green quilts as well. If you don't, let me know and I can draw again for that next week. If you just used green and forgot it was a keyword. But third shift stitcher, those quilts are yours if you would like them. But if you don't want them, let me know and I can redraw next week. So next we have the last quilt set with the word blue. That was these 2. And I can't show them with one hand. Smokey's on my lap now, being very helpful. Oh, there were 51 comments for this. Oh, Denise Gray, congratulations. You might have won something before too. She just had blue. Oh, that's why I know you. She comments with 1 word per comment. So that one was the blue comment. So congratulations. Then we had the cross stitch patterns. First one was tea time with the keyword tea. Has to think, because there were over 300 comments total. This one has 103 comments. Mrs. Stitches, congratulations. So lots of things. The autumn feels like a whirlwind of activities. This weekend we're going to a giant pumpkin festival where they have a pumpkin regatta. They will paddle outside with hollowed out giant pumpkins. All our garden is going dormant. I still have one blue flower, but it is mostly just green leaves. It is the time of year I drink tea and dream of stitching a Mirabilia. It's fun when you can use all the different words in there. So you get the tea pattern, Mrs. Stitches. And then we have the pumpkin one, which I believe I have another copy of that, and I will probably stitch that at some point because it's pretty cute. I don't know when though. 118 said pumpkin. And remember, only win once. So Georgie McDougall, congratulations. I need to sew today and make a pumpkin pie. That sounds great. Sounds like a wonderful day. So congratulations, Georgie. This is fun. Giving away a bunch of treats. So Autumn was the next one. This one with the acorn. It's bath time for Smokey. 128 for this one. Sharon Williams. Maybe you won recently. Congratulations on the milestone. Watching a whip parade in segments. Yes, I don't blame you. That was a long one. So congratulations, Sharon. You win the autumn one. And then we have the cut, press, sew. This was the keyword sew. $67 comments for this one. Marlene May, congratulations. Really enjoyed your whip parade. I did watch it all in one day. Wow, congratulations to you. Kudos for making it through that. And all of her favorite keywords. So very fun. So Marlene, congratulations. I expected there would be many people who could not watch it in one sitting because it ended up being so long, but there are some of you who can make that. The next one was the Prim Village pattern. So the keyword was Prim. $83 comments for this one. Rose Moulton, congratulations. Got to love a Prim Autumn Frosty Snowman Santa. Loved your whip parade as well, so thank you. So Rose, congratulations. Oh, Rosa, sorry, Rosa. I missed the A there. You get the Prim Village. And next we had the Santa Claus typeface pattern. Keyword was Santa. $96 comments. Kathy Kessler, congratulations. Can't wait for Frosty and Santa season. It's coming up here pretty quick. So you could probably have this stitched for Christmas this year. Congratulations, Kathy. And then we have the Frosty typeface one. Keyword Frosty. Not too original here. $103 comments. Sabrina Brand, congratulations. You win the Frosty pattern. Enjoy watching you because of the different types of patterns that you choose to stitch. Yay! Thank you. I did enjoy hearing all of your congratulations and well wishes. It was very nice to read and to know that you enjoy what I have to say and how I say it. So that was very, very heartwarming. So thank you. Last but not least, we have Siren and the Shipback Shipwreck by Mirabilia. The keyword was Mirabilia. And $134. I think that's the biggest one. Cynthia Arsenu. Am I saying that right? Arseno. How nice it would be to stitch your Mirabilia while drinking a pumpkin spice tea in this autumn season. I agree. That sounds lovely. So congratulations, Cynthia. And everybody. So I'll put my info up here like I usually do. Please email stitchinmommy7@gmail.com or private message me on Instagram or private message me on Etsy through my shop. Any of those are good places to let me know your mailing address, and I will hopefully get these shipped out in the next week or two, and then you can enjoy them. So congratulations, everybody. That's fun. Now on to my things that I worked on this week. I guess we can start with travel stitching. I did work on my Wander with Me a little bit. I got 2 more paws put in. Not a lot, but it's something. So here it is, 27 count Linda, 1/1 full cross, and Vintage Country Mocha. And I did these 2 paws. It got pretty hot, and then it's cooling off again there. We actually got to a high of 73, I think, on Sunday, which I'm like 2 or 3 paws behind. So that'll come out over here probably, but it's the lowest it's been in a while. So I can't remember what some of these ones were while we were gone. But yeah, pretty fun. Enjoying that. I have my main new temperature piece getting close. I have it, I worked on it a little bit this week. It's still needs some work, but I am closer than I've ever been. It's a concept I've been thinking about for like 3 years and couldn't quite put it all together until recently, and so I'm hoping you guys like it. It'll probably be released not for another, week or 2, but it's fun. So hopefully you guys like that. And I am working on it. So I have my travel stitch that I do while I'm in the car. This is Year in Stitches by the Victoria Sampler, and I went ahead and printed out an official cover page from the picture on their website, and the one I had was more of a like, this is how you put the blocks together kind of page. So I am working on August. I finished July and I started August this week. So that's fun. You can find this on their website, downloadable in the creative design section. So I'm doing mine on 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, and this is what it looks like all together. And then I'll show you just July before and after. Got the grass done and the mountains done and the backstitching details. It's kind of hard to see because the close-up of on this angle, this direction of the camera isn't particularly great at capturing details, but there is like a little water skier over one and a little man in the boat. So it is there. It's easier to see in person, but that's pretty cute. And they had it charted for a regular full crosses Canadian flag, but they had an optional over one American flag, so I used that one. And yeah, pretty fun. And then this is August, my start on August. I did a 1 length of thread to finish the border, so now September's border is finished too, which is really nice. And then I got started on the lacy bits at the top of the August. There's some like zigzaggy single strands there, and then the two strand full crosses with some French knots in the middle there. So it'll be fun. I'm gonna do like what I tend to do on a lot of these, where I'll do the white and the green and the brown and things like that first, and then add all the pops of color. Tends to be a nice way to do it, because then you get the structure in place before, because the colored bits are usually smaller quantities of stitches, so then you can like put the tree branches in the ground and things like that, and then you know where everything's supposed to be placed. So kind of how I've been working that most of the time. I also worked on my Under the Seesaw a little bit, and you would have seen this a little bit on my Stitch With Me video that I put up this week. So if you haven't seen that, you can go take a look at that. I put that up on Thursday, I think. Where's my cover page? Here it is. It's out of normal place because I think I was showing it in that video. So here's Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries Under the Sea Club. I did toner save mode, so you can barely see the title down here, but this is all that's released so far. Next week we should get the next chunk, probably whatever's here. So I want to keep going on this. I am pulling this out for TV stitching with the family, dentist appointments for the kids, things like that. So I've had a little bit of extra time beyond just an hour when I talk with my sister. But as you will have seen in the Stitch With Me video, I encountered an error that I needed to frog. So the error was not made during the Stitch With Me video. It was probably made during my phone call with my sister last time. But this time, when I talked with my sister, I ripped out the old stuff and restitched a length of thread, and I did another length of thread in another color during some Lego Masters. So I do have some forward momentum on this one. So here it is now. This is 25 count, even weave, 1/1 full cross, and just a light medium blue color, mystery fabric. So I was working up here in the border, and on video during my Stitch With Me, I noticed that this four square thing and the 4 line below it was, this dot was on top of this 4 square, and I didn't have this 4 square. So I had gone, and it was all, everything here was like 4 stitches too close. So I wouldn't have had room for all the little bits in here. So I had to take, there were 2 pearls here and a little squiggly bits that were over here that I needed to take out. And then, but I got another length of thread of the variegated stuff, and that's as far as that goes until you get down to the sidebar where you have like these little dots and stuff. So that's as far as that goes. And then there's a good amount of this one length of the more solid color has been put in. So I got a little bit more to that to do, as well as some pearls and things, but it's coming together. A little derailed, but not by too much. So I will keep plugging away on this. I do have, one of my sons has a dentist appointment today, so should be able to get a little bit more on this today. And keep plugging away on that one. I got some done on my Mill Hill as well last Monday. Hopefully I'll get a little bit more done today. This is Honeybee. I'm trying to do a different buttons and beads for every month, but I currently have 13, and I just saw another one recently that's really pretty. So I might just make as many as I want and change them out whenever I feel like it. It won't be strict with months. It'll just be a little more fluid than that. So here, this one is compared to last time, using all the called for things. And I have finished the yellow in the bee, which is really fun. So I got all the rest of the bee yellow beads done, and then there's a second color of just cross stitching that was put in there as well. So next time, today, I think I'll start in on the wings, and then when the wings are done, however many weeks that takes me, then I'll go and fill in the flowers and the honeycomb and you know what, like stuff like that. But I am enjoying this doing the cross stitching and the beading at the same time when I know that the same color is used for a particular bead. I'll just keep both symbols in my head because they're usually right next to each other and just do them all right at the same time. It feels like it's going faster that way. So, oh yeah, and Knitting Woman was a main piece this week, so I'll wait on that one. My main 2 projects this week, I'm kind of doing like a Fancy Lady the beginning of the week and a full coverage second half of the week. So my Fancy Lady was Whip Go Draw number 2 for October, Fantasy Triptych by Teresa Wensler. This was in that category because there's a Fancy Lady in here, the Maiden. There's also a Knight and the Castle. And I decided to work on the Castle this time because when I was showing it in my whip parade, I noticed there was a lot of the Castle top is not done. I thought that could be fun to work on. Then I realized why I had not worked on the Castle yet. So this is a passed down whip from my sister-in-law. So she started it. She did a good chunk of the Castle, but she had started it without highlighting the chart and then transitioned into highlighting the chart. So the chart is a large fold-out thing a la Mirabilia, if you're more familiar with that, where it's this big piece. And she had highlighted 1/2 of the Castle. So 1/2 of the Castle is completely stitched and all highlighted on the chart pages. The other half of the Castle is partially stitched with no highlighting. So I started it to work on it in hopes that maybe I could just make it work because it's half done already. So maybe it'll be okay to find where I need to be, but it was really difficult. The way Teresa Wensler charts is very confetti heavy. It's not strict feathering. It's just kind of like hither skither. So it's really hard to know where to look for the symbols that you need. So I thought, you know what? It's going to be worth my time in the end to go ahead and highlight what she's finished and then move forward. So I spent 3 days on this. I spent my bonus time in the afternoon highlighting the chart. So I didn't get any Knitting Woman done in the afternoon on these days, but I feel like it's time well spent. And I did get some work done on the Castle. Without further ado, here it is. This is on 25 count antique white, likely even weave. I don't know exactly what the fabric is. 2/2 full cross for the most part. Faces are charted 1/1. And I worked in the Castle this time. Maybe do a before and after of that too, so you can see. I was able to finish all of the gray cross stitching and did 1 length of back stitching on the half that she had finished already. So as you can see here, this half of the Castle, there's a page break right here. This was completely stitched by my sister-in-law and marked on the chart. This half was partially stitched. All the stonework that you see stitched was her stitches, and she had some of the gray. So I finished the gray cross stitching on this half and then put in 1 length of back stitching in the gray that she stitched over here. So I'm super happy with that. Knowing now going forward, this should be a lot more straightforward to work on. I think I will finally cross that hurdle of dreading this piece because I have a method. It's working all right. I'm excited to get back to more of the border as well. There's a lot more detail on the border and get the top of that Castle all the way done. The rest of the Castle all the way done. So much fun. So yeah, there's that. Not quite as much as I had hoped to stitch on it because of the time I spent highlighting the chart, the finished stitches, but it was worth it, I think, in the long run to actually get this finished someday. So Whip Go goals for October in the Fancy Lady board have both been checked now. So my full coverage piece for this week was Knitting Woman. I went ahead and spent 3 days on this. I had a busy weekend, so I didn't get quite as much done on Saturday, but Thursday and Friday saw a decent amount. So overall, I stitched 374 stitches, so not too shabby. And I feel like they were in areas that were really obvious, so hopefully you'll be able to see a nice difference. And here she is now. This is on 22 count even weave, or Aida, 2/1 half stitches, and I did a good amount of the dark colors, some in her skin, some in her sleeve, a lot in the cat, a lot in the shadows here. So yeah, it's coming together. But the kitty is coming together. Doesn't have a super, like, the eyes are not colored or anything, but that's the way it's supposed to be in the picture. So yeah, so I hope to be able to put in a little bit on this most days. I just realized you can see her knitting needles right here. That's pretty cool. Fun. But I think the plan at this point is do as much as I can this month as bonus stitching, and then just knock it out at the beginning of November until it's done. So that's my plan. Sunday I worked on sampler stitches. This is hopefully gonna get done close to the new year. This is by the Drawn Thread. It's a set of 9 patterns. I am working on the PQR pattern right there. I am behind, but hopefully if I work on it every Sunday, I won't be too far behind. So I worked on the P stitches this time and got 1, 2, 3, 4 different specialty stitches done, and the whole like P area cross stitched. So not finished, but good progress nonetheless. It's a big section. The Q is smaller, but R is also really big, so I'll do what I can. Oops, that's this week. Here it is. So here it is all together. This is 32 count custard, 30 count custard cream linen, 1/2 full cross. And I'll do a before and after of the P section, so you can see the different stitches that I did. So that's fun. I think last time I only had this white one, so I did this one, and this one, and this one, and then cross-stitched all of this. So yeah, good progress. So next time it would be nice to finish that off and work in the Q also, but we'll see what Sunday brings. I took a nap this Sunday. That kind of takes some time away. But every little bit counts. I'm really enjoying it again. So hopefully this will be done probably a little after the new year, but close to the new year. That's my goal, to just, because my goal was to finish it this year. So I'd hope to stay close to that. I think that's everything I worked on cross stitching this week. So I'll talk about plans for this coming week, and then plans for, well, I don't know if I should, maybe I'll show my quilting real fast because it's not a lot. And if you're not interested in me rambling about my plans, you can just say goodbye. So I am planning on doing a quilt starting in November with the Fat Quarter Shop, the Scrappiness is Happiness quilt along. And so this is based on this book, Scrappiness is Happiness. And in that book, she recommends a system that Lori Holt uses, where she cuts up her fat quarters into certain strips, and then when she's looking for pieces of certain sizes, she'll go to those strips baskets. And so I decided, I had ordered a colorful fat quarter bundle and a background fat quarter bundle, and I have leftover fabric from the So Happy quilt along I did last year, I think. And some of my stash from quilting in college and high school that I could draw from as well. And I thought I'm gonna make some strips so that when November rolls around, I'm ready to go. And when it's time for one of these blocks, I'll just look through. If it needs like a 2.5 inch strip in blue, I can look for my blues in 2.5 and see what I have and just come up with stuff like that. It's meant to be scrappy. It's meant to be fun. So I have my 1.5s and 2.5s, 3.5s, 5, and 7. And so that whole fat quarter bundle that I had was the Farm Girl Vintage Companion Prints. So it was kind of a small bundle. I think they had a bigger fat Farm Girl Vintage bundle. This was a smaller version, and I got it all cut up on Saturday. So I'm excited. I have the background prints that I'm going to do that with hopefully this weekend, and maybe if I have time I can dig into some of my other things too that are leftovers and get those stripped up too, so that I can have a bunch of strips ready to go for when the quilt along starts. So that's kind of my plan for that one. I thought I'd share because that's always fun. Some of you enjoy quilting a little bit. Okay, so going forward, my plans for this week are to do a 3-day rotation on my, oh, I forgot my pattern. Oh well, maybe I'll put a little picture. But my Fancy Lady draws for September, I'm going to do one of them this week and one of them next week. So this week I'm doing Ashley's Roses. So I'll pop in a picture here because I left my pattern downstairs of what the finished piece will look like. And here is my starting point. This is on 32 count cream linen, I believe. And it looks like I have gotten to the edges of the border, so that's nice. I remember talking in my 2021 whip parade that I wanted to just come down and work on the girl and then maybe come back and work on up here, but this morning I'm thinking I just want to bust out these bows, all the rest of the flowers, the boughs, not the bows, the boughs. I'll have to look at the pattern and see just how thick it is, but I know there's a lot of different colors in there with the oranges and the pinks and the greens, but I have a way to mark stitches off a little bit easier now, so I'm thinking that'll help, and I kind of just want that top done, and then I can enjoy the girl and not worry about it. So wish me luck. Over the next 3 days I can get a good chunk of that top done, if not finished. So you know better than me at this point how much is left up there, because I don't remember how much is left. The cover picture is downstairs. So hopefully I can get a good chunk of that, the flower garlands finished this week, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And then my Whip Go number draw for full coverage for October. The first one is Empress Eugenie. So this is one of my second oldest whip, I think. Actually, it might be my third largest, not oldest. Did I say oldest? Largest. It was my second largest full coverage, but I think is now third because Magic of Christmas, I think, is really big. Oh, you know what? It's probably right here. In my plans, I have a list of things. So Magic of Christmas, yeah, it's my third largest full coverage because I'm cropping it. So I have two that are bigger than this because they are uncropped. Anyways, this is Golden Kite, and I'm cropping off 2 rows of backstitch or background on the top and 1 row or 1 column on the side, and just the ladies in the fancy dresses for me, thanks. I'm doing this on Dove Gray Monaco. Same thing I'm doing the year-end stitches on, only this is 2/1 half stitches. So here's my starting point. I believe the last time I worked on this, I was doing a little bit more of the, typewriter symbol finding across the top. So we'll see what I end up doing if I I'll probably fill in more background. If I'm close to the lady down here, I might do a little bit on her, on the first lady, like I did on End of the Ball and La Soiree, just so I can have some fun foreground subject matter to start working on as well as the background. I like that. It makes the project a lot more interesting. So we'll see how far I get on that. Ideally, I'll get at least 1,000 stitches in 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And these are, yeah, 2/1 half stitches. I was restarting this a little while back. And at the time, I'm like, well, if I do it on 40 count, 1/1, it'll be a lot smaller than the original one I was doing, and bought 40 count fabric and everything. And then I went to start it and I realized it's a golden kite. It has blends. I can't do 1/1 on 40 count. So I went to my tried and true Monaco so I can do a 2-strand half stitch. All right. And I'll work on sampler of stitches again on Sunday. That's the plan. There is next week, there's a slight adjustment in my plans because Jessie Marie Does Stuff is doing a owl stitch along. She's starting a Jeremiah Kettner full coverage with a cute little owl for her daughter. And the hashtag she's using is owl always love you, Sal. So I think you could work on an owl piece or something you're stitching for a loved one. I haven't worked on this owl piece yet this year, so I thought this was a good opportunity to bust it out, even if it's just for 1 day. I don't have any extra days really in October except for the 31st, when I was hoping to spend the time on Knitting Woman because I think I'm going to need it. However, I'm working on Halloween Fairy next week by Nora Corbett, so it could work that I could bump Tuesdays. It's going to be on the 25th. The Owl Sal is on the 25th. I could bump Tuesday's day of Halloween Fairy to Halloween, which could be very appropriate. Another option I had was just do Halloween Fairy as bonus stitching that Tuesday and then do the rest of the time on the Owl project and just wait to focus on Knitting Woman until November 1st. So I might just, I think I'll move Halloween Fairy to actual Halloween and do Halloween Fairy the 24th, the 26th, and 31st. It'll be a little weird, but I want to jump on this Sal because I haven't worked on this yet this year. I don't have it here to show you, but this is the one I'm talking about. It's my owl piece that's for my family, which is someone I love. So I thought that'd be perfect to work alongside this with her. And on the 25th, give that a day, see how much I can get done. So let's see, I think that's everything coming up right now. So I have some plans for 2023. So if that doesn't interest you, totally fine. But if you are interested in that sort of thing, want to hear me ramble, I have some thoughts. Maybe restating what I shared in my Stitch With Me video on Thursday and adding to it and some thoughts I've had in the meantime. Something that I feel like my struggle to know how to work my projects has been because I have so many of them. And that's entirely true. However, I think the bigger problem is that they are large projects. I referenced Brian Blitzstitch last week because he has a rotation that he often uses where he has a focus piece he works on for a week and then he rotates through his other projects, coming back to his focus piece like every other week. But he was saying, he chimed in on that video and said he has a hard time balancing finishing things and starting things, and what do you focus on and how do you manage that? And he has a lot fewer projects than I do, and he's still struggling with that. And that made me think, I don't think it's necessarily the amount of projects you have. I think the bigger problem is the size of the projects that you have. So there's a lot of people in the cross-stitching community who have small projects for the most part, if not exclusively. And my projects are, for the most part, huge, not just big, huge. So it makes it hard to balance, you know, what do I focus on to finish? Because, you know, trying to get something finished is going to take you years, not just days, which is the case with a lot of stitchers who stitch on smaller things. So it is a definite different beast to tackle. So that's, I think, the bigger problem. Like, there's a classic finish 2 projects before you can start 1 concept that happens. It's a good concept. I love that concept. Initially, I could maybe do that if I had really good willpower and focused on finishing some of my smaller pieces, because I have a few smaller pieces. But in the long run, that's not going to work. Like, it could potentially, but I like starting things too much. If I were to have, for example, end up finishing all of my non-full coverage pieces and have 30 or 40 full coverage left, or even some Mirabilias thrown in there, which are not small. Those are big too. Having to finish 2 of those before I can start something new is going to take years. So it's not as simple as that, you know? Like, that sounds really great on paper, but putting it into practice means you'd have to stop what you're doing, set aside every plan and rotation and variation you have, which I love variety, so that's tricky, and be monogamous, essentially, in order to get some things done, in order to start something. So I tend to like to move around with my things, so that plan isn't necessarily going to be a good one for me. And something I shared in my Stitch With Me video was that an example of one I might want to focus on is Bear Time Stories, because it's for my son, and it's of the kiddish projects that I have going, it's of the projects for my children that are still going, this one is the most childlike looking, so it might be good to focus on first. However, when I crunched the numbers, I noticed I'd have to do more than 1,000 stitches every week for the next year to get it done. That's a lot. That would again be, because it, like with my 3-day rotations, it takes me about 3 days of good stitching days to get 1,000 stitches. So I would be blocking out pretty much half of the next year to be able to get that done. That's a lot. And I feel like when I focus too much on something, I tend to run out of love for it, and I don't want that to happen. I want to enjoy it. So anyways, I don't think I'll be buckling down quite that much, but I do want to have some finished goals this coming year. Something I just noticed that I forgot to share with you is a New Heaven and Earth Designs. There was a sale, a Halloween sale, and I bought this one. Sunny Birds by Oleg Gavrilov. So pretty. So yes, that needs to happen sometime soon too. But anyways, so like I said in my Stitch With Me, the only things I'm feeling like starting are the full coverage choices. I'm not really feeling like starting anything else. I watched a few Flosstubes this week that were showing quite a few new starts and quite a few things with only a little bit of progress on them. And that really impressed upon me that I don't want that for right now in my stitching life. I want to finish things, and I've been struggling with what to do, and it finally occurred to me, I really don't want to start something smallish just for the sake of starting it. I need to not start that Victoria Sampler kitty pattern for my car project next year. It looks adorable. I'm going to still keep downloading the patterns as they're released this year, but I won't work on that as my car project next year. I don't need another brand new year-long stitch-along. I need to work on my smalls, the little flighty things that I've started along the way, and get those done, and maybe even some of my oldest projects. So next year, as soon as I decided to do that, I was very content with my plans. So my goal now, as soon as year-end stitches is finished, hopefully near the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, I'm gonna have my ballet line school pickup cross stitch project be things I want to finish. And we'll see how many I can get done. That'll be fun. I'll still have, sometimes those projects can be slightly too big to just have in a smaller project bag to take to dentist appointments and stuff. So I'll probably always have something compact. Like right now, I still have temperature butterflies that's small and compact, or Under the Sea Club, things like that, I'll just grab that bag by itself and take it with me. So I'll make sure to have something like that where all the flosses are there. It's got its own scissors. I can just grab and go. In case the one that I'm working on to focus for a finish is slightly bigger or more complicated in some way. So like year-end stitches, like the roll of fabric is kind of long. I don't want to take that out at the dentist office. It's just too big. But I'm excited about that, to get some of those things done. I may or may not use the Whip Go board next year for finishes. That could give me some direction over which things to put in my travel bag every month. So I may still do that. Put some things on the Whip Go board that can get finished fairly quickly and use that to say what to work on first. So that might be a thing. So what I'm gonna do is kind of re-share what I shared in my Stitch With Me, because it was clear as mud, my plans for 2023. So I will show you an example of a yeah, I guess I can do this one. This is a good one. So here's May next year. There's nothing written here, but it is a good example of what I can do and what I'm planning to do. So I'm planning to do, for the most part, 3-day rotations on my full coverage, and it will probably be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it'll be the weekend days will be a full coverage rotation. And then I'll have two-day rotations each month for a non-full coverage piece. So Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday. And ideally, if there's some size discrepancies, the smallest ones will get the Monday, Tuesday slots, because those are busier days than Wednesday, Thursday. And those days can have like the medium or large non-full coverage pieces. The full coverage category, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, includes full coverages and full coverage no background. So that is a larger group. It includes, there's like 8 of them right now that I have that are technically a full coverage company, but they don't have the background. Either it was charted that way or I took it out myself. Those are all included in there because I want to try to get 1,000 stitches on all of those kind throughout the year. And I have room to wiggle. There's room for repeating a few. There's room for a handful of new starts as needed. And there's, I am not counting February or August in this. So this general idea will be for all the months except for February and August, because I'm planning to do like a daily switch situation for February and August. And I can talk about that more when I get to it. But I wanted to leave those months blank. Something like this in May or March, if I wanted to do Mirabilia May, Mirabilia March, Joan Elliott July, Jolly July, you know, things of that nature, Sampler September even, I can use those like community events as guiding information in order to fill out my plan for the month. So I can put in a bunch of Mirabilias in the month of May, put a bunch of samplers in in September, things like that, as well as seasonal pieces. I can put the seasonal pieces in the months that they're appropriate. So I can have some flexibility about what I put in there, when, so I can go along with people stitch alongs, as long as it's something I already have, and those kind of thematic things. The other thing is if a month has a bingo board situation, like what do you call it? Magazine Monthly Challenge. They have a bingo board in January and September where they draw a different number the first 25 days of the month, and you fill it out with various projects that meet certain criteria. So if I were to do that, I would maybe plan out what I want to work on using these 2- and 3-day rotations, and then fill out my board using those projects. If for some reason I don't get all of the days, I wouldn't, because there's only 25 days in the bingo board. Whatever's left in the month can be whatever I didn't get to in the bingo board, you know, whatever didn't meet the prompts or whatever. So I feel like this can be flexible. It can be, it'll allow me to get to every project at least once for a rotation. And if I'm focusing on some in the car, I'll hopefully be knocking things off the bottom of the list. And I'm planning to do, I'd still like to do Mill Hill Mondays for bonus stitching on Mondays, and then bonus stitching the rest of the time. I'd like to work on my letter fairies to get those gifts done for my nieces. And if for some reason I finish those early, I can move on to family pieces again for bonus stitching. So, and family pieces can very easily make it in the car as well. For example, if I do a finish WhipGo board and I have a bunch of Advent animals on there, and I draw 2 Advent animals for the month of June or something, I put the Advent animals, those particular 2, in my travel bag. I get those 2 done before the end of the month. The rest of that month, I could have my travel stitching be one of my family pieces. Bear Time Stories, Dragon Ride, Visit Endor, one of those ones. So that's totally doable and something that I would consider doing to try to get those moved along a little bit more also. Opening up that travel stitching category, just like all the things just kind of gelled in my head of what I want to do next year. So I feel like this is going to be a nice year of trying not to be a slave to challenge groups, but to just kind of dabble a little bit and use them to help me decide what to work on, but not to be super chained to it, to have to count my stitches and, you know, different things. I use challenge groups now, I feel like, more just to choose what to work on. It's kind of a fun thing to have someone else to try to like find things that fit the prompts, because I have so many things. Usually there's something that fits. I do have, there's a few full coverage fanatics challenges that I might do just for fun. It would be like, there's a classic colors one that I think I could do. I could make sure one of my rotations in the month has whatever color their theme is that month, and post start and finish pictures. And they have quarterly bingo boards that I might participate in depending on how I'm feeling. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they are. Sometimes the bingo boards require stitches, and sometimes it's just a prompt. So I'll have to look and see. Those ones are fun though. I like bingo boards. And then Tour de France in July could be one where I take July off from working on my letter fairies and pick one full coverage piece and work on that for my bonus stitching the whole month to try to get the Tour de France challenge finished. That's where you stitch the number of stitches a day that they're riding their bikes that day. So that could be my bonus stitching. I'll do that many stitches and then move on to something else. And I've done that before. I did that with Quick Stitch Iris, which is what motivated me to want to finish it. So if I have something else like that, that could be fun to work on that and kind of push it closer to a finish. So yeah, I think that's everything. Hopefully that was a little easier to understand. And as it gets closer, it'll be obvious, hopefully. I updated my list of Pattern Keeper projects last night. I hadn't updated this since 2020 when I did my 2020 Whip Parade, but I went ahead and added everything that I have in Pattern Keeper, not just full coverage. There's a few non-full coverages in here too. And then sorted them by how many stitches are left. Because I'm like, this is an interesting thing to know. So we have His Name is Jesus is the smallest. That's what I'm working on with Desiree, the Addicted Stitcher. So that one has a plan. I'm not moving forward quicker on that one. Knitting Woman is next. that number is coming down real fast. Then I have Cupcake Dreams, which is an interesting one. That one is definitely pretty small. And then Simpsons, Visit Endor, which did not surprise me. That's fairly small. So of all of my actual full coverage pieces, next to Knitting Woman, Visit Endor is the next smallest. Then Butterfly Rose Cross was kind of a surprise. Since I took out all the background, that one actually has just about the same amount as Visit Endor to get finished. So some of these, if I'm wanting to focus on a finish and knock some of these out, I have some information, you know, to go to be like, what is actually what has the least amount left. So this one actually has about the same amount left to stitch as this one. So 18,000 and change. So Celtic Lady Sampler is in here. Cherry Kitten is another no background one. Friends of the Library is my next smallest one. And that kind of matches. It used to be a kit, a needlepoint kit. So it matches. It is not super big. And then Grapes and Young Gardener. So some of these that I kind of knew were smaller. I'm right. African Woman with Peonies. So and then we kind of get up higher. But I thought it was nice to kind of list them out like that. And so if I'm seeking a Pattern Keeper friendly design to focus on for my bonus stitching at some point, I have a list of things I can go to try to see what could I get potentially finished sooner or pushed closer to a finish. So I think this will help me make some decisions, and that'll be fun to have on hand next year. I'll need to print out a list of all my projects and, you know, check them off as I plug them in to make sure everything gets worked on at least once. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been stewing over, and seriously, deciding to not start that Victoria Sampler kitty piece, a weight off my shoulders. I like that piece and it would be fun to work on it, but knowing that I have that chunk of my stitching life free to do stuff with is invaluable, I think. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm sure at some point I'll come back to that pattern and I'll have it when I want it. Potentially, I could make just little vignettes for things. Like I could see something, one of the it's days of the week, so there's 7 of them, little scenes with some lacy bits, you know, similar to my Year in Stitches piece. I could make one of those for a retreat if I go to a retreat sometime, you know. So I'll have them available to stitch. I don't necessarily need to do them all together anyways. Yeah, so I'm super happy with that. I hope that was encouraging to you and maybe gave you some food for thought of what you would like to do next year. Yeah, so more details forthcoming. And with that, I will stitch. This might take a little bit longer to upload. It's a little later in the day than sometimes, so I may not get it up until tomorrow, but at least it's ready. Saw the before picture for Ashley's Roses, so I can get working on that. And Lord willing, I'll be back next week. Happy stitching. Bye.